bowl week rages on. We get a classic bowl matchup with maybe some interesting stakes if we look at the possibilities here. We got the Liberty Bowl, also known as the Pronunciation Bowl, between Arkansas and Kansas. Is it Arkansas? Is it Arkansas? Is it Kansas? Is it Kansas? We'll get to find out in Memphis on the 28th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Listen, it is also, we can joke about the pronunciation, but it's also a really interesting dichotomy of preseason expectations, right? Kansas came into this year, I think their over under was 2.5 wins for the whole year. They eclipsed that very quickly. They start off the year 5-0 and were just the absolute talk of the college football world. Game days there. Then the injury bug hits, and that really kind of derails how special this season could have been. They lose a great running back, they lose their starting quarterback, they lose their best defender, and they drop 6 of their last 7. But bounce back, get to bowl eligibility, and even so, this team skyrocketed past those preseason expectations. They got a top 30 scoring offense, and the defense still a work in progress, right? Especially when you lose one of your top defenders like they did, but just an all-time great story in college football, and Lance Leipold just absolutely has that program buzzing for the first time since 2007, 2008. Arkansas, on the other hand, was a hot pick to maybe challenge for the SEC West in a year that there was a lot of wide open speculation. A lot of people were picking them to be that number 2 team, but they really saw their offense drop off because of a couple things. They lose Traylon Burks, obviously. No one really stepped up to be that dominant alpha. And Raheem Sanders, took over. He was kind of the alpha of the offense, one of the best running backs in the country, rushing for almost 1,700 yards and 12 total touchdowns. But, it was just a different feel on offense for the Razorbacks this year than what they had last year. So they kind of have a chance to get some of that momentum back. They lost few games they probably feel like they shouldn't have this year. And, as they go into this battle against a plucky Kansas team, what do both of these two teams have to do to feel like they can win the game?
Yeah, well, I'm going to start on the Kansas side. Obviously, fantastic story this year. Kansas wins this game if Jalen Daniels is more like his pre-injury self, right? So before his injury, he was tearing it up. I think he passed for 11 touchdowns in the first 4 games. He was a factor on the ground as well with his legs. Obviously, they're not going to get high shot back. That's a huge hit. They do get to bring back Devin Neal, though. He's been a huge step up piece for them in the running game. But look, at the end of the day, this is going to run through Jalen Daniels. This is an efficient offense, a very effective offense in what they want to do. At the end of the day, though, it's going to be up to him being able to get back to where he was before his injury, right? Forget about trying to play a good game on defense. If you're Kansas, it's just not going to happen, right? We're going to figure that side of the ball out next year. Going to try to see if we can, maybe bring in some transfers in the portal in the offseason. It's not going to happen if you're Kansas. They're just not going to play well on defense. They only held 3 FBS opponents under 30 points this year. Um, Not a good year on the defensive side of the ball. The path to victory for the Jayhawks is through their offense. It's always been scoring this year, and they're going to need Daniels to perform if that's going to happen. On the Arkansas side, they have to be able to control the lines of scrimmage, right? They are the more physical team on the offensive side. They're going to be able to run the ball, like you were talking about. Raheem Sanders, one of the best running backs in college football this year. And if he's going to have his normal type of production, his normal day, no problem. They're going to have a heyday on that side of the ball. And I think that they're going to put a lot of strain on that Kansas offense to keep up. The difference, I think, for them is going to be on defense. They're going to need to be able to get in their gaps to stop Devin Neal, who did have over 1,000 yards rushing this year, and they need to force Jalen Daniels to play hero ball. That's not something he's been able to prove he can do since going down for injury. The Hogs are going to stuff the box. They're going to get there to really, put a bunch of guys in the box and force them to throw the ball. But this Kansas offense just finds a way to work. I don't know what it is about the scheme, but they just work on that side of the ball. Yeah, I'm thinking some play action, some things like that, maybe to try to keep them honest. It might be a pass to open up the run game if you're Kansas. You have to be able to limit the run game enough and then try to control possessions and do what you can on the offensive side to be efficient.
Yeah, and one thing we've also seen from Kansas is it is a little bit chaotic at times on the offensive side of the ball, right? But most of the time it works, but they also have struggled with the turnover bug at times this year, and that's
Yep.
really gotten them against some more opportunistic defenses like Arkansas is going to have. Arkansas can really make you pay with their pass rush, and they can really make you pay with mistakes. So I think that could be a huge key to this game as well. Garrett, do you have a score prediction for us?
Yeah, for sure. I think at the end of the day, it's been a great story for Kansas, but I do think Arkansas handles their business in the Liberty Bowl. I think that, this is probably going to end up being a couple scores difference here. I just don't trust Kansas offense to be efficient enough, and I definitely don't trust their defense to get a single stop. I think Arkansas is going to be able to run the ball early, keep them off the field for extended periods of times, and just get that offense out of the sync. I'm going to go something along the lines of maybe an Arkansas 30, Kansas maybe 17. And I'll go with that kind of a scoring margin. I don't think it's particularly close, but I do think this is a big win for Arkansas to be able to come out and show this kind of performance and a good year. What is this, year two under Lance Leipold, to be able to kind of continue building that program? I don't think this is a hang your head situation for Kansas. I just think they're a little outmatched.
I'm with you on Arkansas winning the game. I do think it plays out a little bit differently. I actually don't think Kansas is going to struggle all that much to move the ball. I think they will struggle to finish drives if they don't get the big play, and I think that's the big difference in this game.
Right.
I just think Arkansas is going to move the ball at will. Raheem Sanders is going to have a monster game. KJ Jefferson
Absolutely.
run the ball really, really well. I think this is a super high scoring game that Arkansas kind of pulls away from. Give me Arkansas somewhere in the tune of 42-28 at the
Wow.
end of the game. So lots of points I'm expecting in Memphis at least. We've seen some weird stuff happen in the Liberty Bowl in the past. It should be a good one. Make sure you tune in.
Gracious him.